All right, yet again, new QQQ all-time high list today. When you get semis and technology continue to reach and hit new all-time highs, you're going to get Qs pulled up further. Let's take a look at the sheet and see what moved markets today, this Friday afternoon. Volume very low, very low. SPY, I believe, how many shares? We're looking at 27 million shares. So that is equivalent of basically, again, always calling back to it, but that's basically Thanksgiving. That Thanksgiving Friday half sessions is this kind of volume. So we're just creeping along higher. One index goes higher, and as you see the VIX, well, today was higher, but let's take a look at the sheet and see where we are. Okay, so let me share here. All right. Bang, bang. All right. So today, it's Friday, so we're going to summarize today and the week. So today, Europe really got shellacked. And this is really in focus. The world, I would say, specifically Europe, got repriced this week. South America as well. You remember what happened earlier in the week. Some countries have resolved higher. In the case of India, Mexico is having a very difficult time. Lower, as is Brazil. So very different investor flows, finding some markets and exiting others. So today, airlines, Europe, and small caps, all multiple sigma moves down at least, or up at least 1%. The volatility futures ETF, VXX, ran up 3.5%. Gold was up about 1.5%, and small caps, as interpreted through the Russell, was down about 1.5%. So a big move lower there. And then gold and volatility rise. As I said, gold was up 1.3. Sorry, oh man, I'm spinning. Volatility up 3.5. The Euro stocks was down 2.5%, so I got really shellacked, and that's a basket of the Euro stocks 50. Airlines got down 2%, and then that Pacer U.S. small cap ETF down 1.8%. The Russell was down 1.6. That's the closest comp. So otherwise, the best three absolute trades of the week in the market. So if you were short Europe in any kind of capacity, specifically the European financials is the weakest area. They had some banks have some tough issues this week. You can look into that. But as a whole, too, also, ECB cut rates last week. So this is becoming in focus. We'll see if this has to do something with our markets, potentially a week or two, this digestion period after we do cut rates and, accept potentially slower growth. But Germany also got hit hard. We'll see. I think some of these areas are going to be ample and ripe for investment. So we'll take a look at the charts. So I usually don't do this in the bottom, the best three absolute trades of the week, but they were so clustered, I had to. So typically in markets, when you're in a chat, if you put the slash, it means the other one, you buy the first one, you sell the next one. So I'm just combining them all. So you want to be sure any one of those areas, European financials, Europe, the Eurozone, or Germany, if this holds, you believe this 5-day momentum holds. Second best trade in the market was long semiconductors tech. Growth as a whole really crushed it this week. And then short Bitto, specifically the Bitto. Other ones are weak as well, IBIT and those, but Bitto's been especially weak. So let's take a look at the charts and see if there are any, possibilities for, investment, some trades to dizzle. All right, let's see here. Boopity boopity bop. Let me see here. Share screen. Come on. All right. Let me see here. Today, this is the intraday chart of the SPY. They bought them pretty much all day. Here is the opening. 9:30, we opened at 541. I'm rounding for simplicity's sake. The orange line is the VWAP, and we held it throughout. A little bit of a sell-off at 4 o'clock, but not really. So all in all, not a horrible day, even with volatility climbing higher. As we zoom out for SPY, as I've been saying, my target, I was saying to expect a bullish regime through, mid to late June to top out around 540, maybe 545. I'm stretching it, but not much more to about there. And then typically what I would see, like I said, I'm looking at another chart here with different volatility band timeframes, but I would see lows for the market going into, say, early to mid-July, but they're not going to take you much further, I don't think, below 530. So it's pretty crazy. It's a buy market, and you're seeing broadening happen. So, all right, let's see what happened today. We'll take a look at the chart. So VXX is the first chart. We're looking at this today because it had a multiple standard deviation move. It's such a piece of crap, so I got to zoom in on the 6-month chart. I was talking about before, I wanted to see around 10.55 in specifically this VXX to note that that's as, it would pierce this move, this blow off top, as it will, in the market. Of course, VXX is inversely correlated. So market goes higher, VXX goes lower. The lowest we did get to was 1080. So that's, you can say what you want about my math skills. That's pretty good, getting within 20 cents. It's a cheap ETF, of course. But so all that being said, you have this rally here today, up 3.5%. Is that it? Is this in the rear view these past 2 days, and now we get to go higher? I think it could still potentially get to 1040 or so, but you really do need to see the market cooperate. When you have SPX up, Qs up 0.5%, and it's just a Russell that's down 1.5%, this is, usually going to at least be flat. So today was kind of an anomaly, but you had some big spaces go down. I think the Euro route scared some people. Also, when there is fear in the market, what do? They bought gold. Which I remember just talking about. This looks good for investment if you don't have any. Let's take a look at the chat. Let's take a look at the chart. Yeah, so this, I think, has great support at really great support at 210. If you were able to get in here, this is a brick wall going back to, as much as a brick wall could go back to April 3rd, but that's good 2.5 months of support. It got there. In fact, it got to 212 essentially on June 7th, a week ago. And now we're back at 215. So where do we go from here? I think it's probably in accumulation mode. You do need the market to consolidate a little bit so that this isn't the hottest asset. This could rage like it was, but I think there's other more attractive games in town, a la Qs and S&P. Qs and SMH and XLK making new all-time highs. But this will come back. I think it's going to meander here around 216 for a bit, but I think this has a short-term top of about, it's trying to obviously get towards 225. We'll see if it has what it takes. But and today could be the start. All right, let's take a closer look at the Fez. So the Eurozone, any ETF you look at really got hammered today. Not going to go into the constituents of why, but this is a big drop. You can see here for a nation ETF. That is massive. A pretty overall positive story for the Eurozone. May 15th, it hit its high at $54. We're inside of a 10% correction there. Most of it came in 2 days. Where do we go from here? I think it'll have a mean reversion visit. It could do it in a day or two. We'll see if it does it fast or quick. You'll see how it resolves. But this has positive momentum. I don't hate the story. This has been a good area. And the support, similar to what we said in the other chart. This one goes back to mid-February, the support of 50 on the specific one. So I like this. I think it's probably going to have to get to 53 over the next week or two, as what I think its first mission is before it even tries to obviously think about this new 52-week highs. But I think it's going to mean revert to 53 over the next week or so. Big move down today, though. The airlines also got hit hard today. Let me just curious, what did oil specifically do? Oil was down, so this was, idiosyncratic specific story to the airlines. If you're looking at the chart, like we said, this one hasn't really looked great since it hit its 52-week high back last July, and now it's really just been range bound between 21 and 19. So kind of boring. There's definitely better areas in the market for your investment here. I used to think this was looking good about a month ago. I have in my notes here, mid-May, but I thought it was going to base and then break out. I don't like the momentum here. Not awful. The 200 days, technically it's going up by a penny, but it's just stuck at 1872. For sure, that is your, support. I'd rather buy it here, but I think it just has a really tough time getting above 20. And I think that's a flash in the pan and go back lower. Better areas for your investment than that. And a big move lower today. CAF is the one that really registered the multiple sigma move. The other one was good too, IWM, but this is a little bit different. The Pacer cash cows, very close to IWM, but let's take a look at the chart. So CAF, 1 year chart here. Yeah, this thing topped here March 28th. There's support here. I don't think it's going to drop too much more. We've been doing a lot of this. We've been seeing some of this sea change in some of these markets. When it comes over the 200-day, either pierce above or starts to go below, you want to pay attention to that. This thing's still technically rising. I think this will be short-lived, and it will continue to bounce higher. It's a tough trade to stomach right now, but I think this will get back to 45, which is bullish for the overall equities. And this would mean small caps would bounce. I don't think it's by any means the best area for your trade, for your investment. But I think this is going to probably get to 46, and then it has staunch resistance at I was going to say 48, 47.5. It's not getting there. Okay, so top 5 gainers of the past 5 days, no repeats. So SMH, uh, the best long in the market over the past 5 weeks. Congrats if you bought this. I, in fact, did. So I want to pat myself on the back. It's hard to do so when it happens. I did buy NVIDIA just straight up last week before the split. Not that that had anything to do with it, but just a lot of alpha in that stock. I was trying to capture SMH and the cream of the crop of this specific one, and it's NVIDIA. Although many move this week, Taiwan Semi, Broadcom, you can get your fill. There's a lot of these things moving. So let me see where it's going now. Yeah, we've seen this a lot of where the target is. I look at this kind of similar to the S&P, where I said for SPY, 540 to 545 target. For this, I have about 260. So it's that target. It's actually, about $8 above. So I expect this to, and it's literally and clearly overbought here with a 77 RSI, although this is where the superstar lives. But a runner can't, run forever, and trees don't grow to the sky. So this should at least come back to the last overbought period. And this began its overbought around somewhere in this 250 to 236 range. That would be a very hardy fall. To be honest, this thing is so strong. I think this gets to the 21 EMA of around 246. So maybe around there. That would be, it could go lower as well, but pick your spots with this. This thing is running, in fact, the best long of the past 5 days, hitting new all-time highs today. XLK is going to be obviously very close to this. This is your Apple, especially participating. I was texting a few friends that Apple, the breakout in the stock with their new AI launch on the WWDC on Monday, I think is going to provide the next catalyst for the leg higher. Now you're having a major contributor participant in the mega cap story, and a lot of people kind of slept on Apple, whatever. But when you look at the funds now, especially XLG, extra large, it's a top 50. It's Man, it's Microsoft, it's Apple, and it's NVIDIA. NVIDIA is doing its job. Microsoft is doing great, and now Apple is ripping through a multi-year breakout. So I think you're going to see thrust in the S&P continue to go higher for that 6,000, New Year's Eve. I think that's what it looks like it's going to happen. Whew. All right, XLK, same thing. Target for this one, I have about 223. It's a bit rich here. Doesn't mean it can't stop, but yeah, I think a little bit of the cherry will come off this. It is overbought. It's can tend to do this for weeks at a time. You can see when it did this back in November through December, more recently in January, and here again. But yeah, I wouldn't buy it right here, although the momentum is with it. Oil, the third best long in the market, up 4.5% in the past week. So the dispersion is, so best gainer of the past 5 days is the semiconductors, up about 6.5% in the past 5 days, and then tech in second place with 5.5%, and third place is oil. So we get something uncorrelated, up 4.5%. Let's take a look at what this is doing. I think we were actually talking about this in the charts in the video like last week. I said this is going to have a rough time and just hit a wall around 76. And that's, or did I say, what did I say, 77? 70, I think I actually did say 76. So right around here, and pretty much, I mean, it's peaked above it, but it really hasn't traded above it since May 29th, so before Memorial Day. And now it's trying to wrestle with this 200-day moving average, which is just, it's technically, it is going up barely, but it's at 74.5 now, an important level. I think it's a little bit tired here, and this might start to, I think this is going to start to descend towards 71. I think it's going to oscillate down here now, start to move down there. So that is oil, although the momentum is with it to the upside here. I think that was the move. Let's say that's what makes a market. TLT, the fourth best long in the market. That's interesting because we did have a call on rates, and we expected to get to that point, and then we got to, I said, you're going to see some relief. So again, TLT is having its own battle with a 200-day moving average, although this is clearly descending and is now at a clean, we'll call it $92. Yeah, I think this is done. It's ascent here. That was nice, and I believe this will start to descend, which means rates will rise, and I'll probably put a little bit of a lid on the market, explaining a little bit of those consolidation area through mid to early July. But yeah, I probably see this descending towards 89. Pretty much looks like it's got its name written on it here, and I would expect that to unfold over the next 2 weeks or so. But TLT, the momentum is with it to the upside. Big momentum too above its 200-day moving average, but I don't think it'll last. And then India, talk about just amazing volatility through its elections. If you look at the chart, that's crazy. This isn't, Tesla or, Adobe on earnings. This is crazy. This is the country of India. June 3rd, $48. June 4th, $44. And then today, June 14th, $48. So if you were in a coma and you didn't, see anything for 11 days, no change. But crazy. Let me see here, markets in terms of where it is now. Ironically, after all that being said, my target is right around here for now, even with the vol expansion, right around 48. So this is pretty much where I'm expecting it. What do you do here? I would think the vol is behind you. I would think you try and get a setup if you can. There's possibly some volatile days ahead. I would try and be real opportunistic and get in at 46 if you could. But India, ironically, not a massive volatility mover, but this politics, the votes have really shoved it massively. We'll see where it goes from here. But I think the lid is on it for now. Maybe get ready in the next 2 weeks, should it correct. Okay, so the top 5 losers of the past 5 days. This is where a lot of money was made. It's the European financials, believe it or not. So this has been really, it's been a good story. As you can see here, the story came apart just in the past week and a half. This thing hit its 52-week high at 24, and today down 1.5%. This thing is down a big 8.5% in the past 5 days. What do you do here? I mean, it's still got a superstar profile, only periods of overbought, as you can see in the blue here, for deep periods too. Not a super liquid name. So if you're into options, forget about it. It doesn't work. You're gonna have to buy this stock, which it doesn't even trade all that much, but here we are. Yeah, as you can see here we had a breakout day of 4 million shares. It rarely breaks above million. It's done a couple of times bearishly, in this chart, but you see a rise in 200-day moving average. Your support is definitely there, I would say, at 2090, and that would coincide with the February highs. I like that there. I think this mean reverts to about 23. I think you can get a nice pop in this for about a point, which is about 3% or so. So I think it might not. I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow or next week or something, but I think it'll happen. As you zoom out, take a look at the other further weakness in the Eurozone. So that as a whole, so obviously there's growth issues and things like that in the nation. So this was down, very similar looking chart. This top technically, or not technically, in the chart May 15th. So a little bit further momentum than the financials did, almost making that more dramatic. But you could see here just in the past week. And, they're zigging and zagging where there's a lot of global elections as well. Mexico, Brazil, India, a lot of big movers here. Your support's down there at 47 on the 200-day. Again, that coincides with the Valentine Day low, it looks like here. I'm just looking at that time frame, 4 months out. And then, yeah, in terms of mean reverting, I think this could pop to 51. That would be a nice move, too. That would be even bigger, 48 to 51. That would be a juicy move. So potentially for that, I don't know if it's going to be ready right now, but it does look, these don't look like terrible stories, just a lot of near-term volatility. Potential strategy, if you could stomach it, would be selling puts, but this one's more liquid than the EUFN. All right, Germany, also a culprit here. One of the victims. Germany down 6% in the past 5 days, so to average more than 1% per day. Pretty brutal, but today down 2% alone. See, things were looking normal, and then last week it got shot. A lot of different issues, at stake here. This topped May 15th at 32.75, and now you're trading 30. Where do we go from here? Hate to sound boring and repetitive, but I think you're going to get a bounce to 31.70, which would be a nice move right around here. It might look similar to the India chart because these have positive stories. I don't think it's going to really break. This has its work cut out for it first, though. This is really just close to getting oversold. You got to try and reclaim that 50 RSI on the 14-day. All right, Bitto, the fourth one, down 5.5% in the past week. See, not all of them work. I did buy more, not Bitto. I bought iBit. But similar returns. Bitcoin still just stuck there around. I think it's 67 or so K now, whatever. But yeah, this one not looking great. Down, as I said, 5.5% in the past 4 days. Where do we go from here? I think it rallies, but it's going to hit a wall, specifically this ETF, that is 27.5. So it's just it's not really fun to watch this right now, but that'd be a monster move from 24.70 to 27.5. I do expect that to happen over the next This might take longer, and you might need more, exuberance in the overall market. But yeah, I know. Technically, crypto always looks pretty good, but this one specifically doesn't look great with the lower highs. The high already back here again mid-March. That's not so great, but you have nice velocity at the 200-day moving average, and your support is there at 22.20. We'll see how it trades this weekend. And lastly, Brazil, the fifth biggest loser this week in the market, down 5% or an average of 1% per day. Where does it go from here? So as we said in a lot of these, you expect it to mean revert, et cetera, et cetera. I expected that here as well, about here. So it doesn't always work. This is pretty astonishing. It totally fell out of bed. So I think this is going to get to 28. It is truly oversold, and it's been dealing with that environment since May 31st. So it's typically pretty tough for a nation to stay oversold for 2 weeks. At some point, someone might step in. So it's kind of dramatic, but overhead, this looks very heavy. This is not getting to 32 anytime soon. You're not going to have those 3-bar recoveries like you saw in much stronger stories like Europe and in India and such. So yeah, first step, mean reversion, but I only expect this to get to like 28. This looks really weak out of all the charts. So in summary, best trades of the week. If you were short European financials, Eurozone, Germany, congratulations. That was the best absolute trade in the entire marketplace. And then second, if you're long tech or semiconductors, gift that keeps on giving. That story has not changed for the past 2 years. And then if you were able to sniff out and short Bitcoin, congrats. It's had a pretty weak week and is the second best short overall. All right. Have a good weekend. For all my papas out there, happy Father's Day. And we will see you next time. Peace.